Listen, have you noticed that your mind has been feeling different lately? Not your life. I'm talking about your mind. It's almost like your old way of thinking is slowly disappearing while a completely new way of seeing reality is starting to take its place. If you've been experiencing these strange mental shifts, this message that I'm about to give you is going to explain exactly why, okay? Now, have you noticed your old beliefs? They suddenly feel fake all of a sudden. These are beliefs that you carried for years. Suddenly they don't feel true anymore. These are ideas like, I'll never have enough money, or that's just the way life is. It begins falling apart on its own. It's almost like your subconscious has stopped accepting old programming because it no longer matches the direction that your mind is moving towards right now. Okay. Now, have you noticed certain memories, they don't affect you the same way anymore? You could think about painful moments that once controlled your emotions, but now it feels strangely distant. The memory is still there, yeah, but your brain no longer reacts the same way to it that it used to. Almost like your mind is clearing space for something new. That's exactly what's happening. Okay. Now, have you noticed your brain automatically corrects negative thoughts? Have you noticed this? The moment limiting thoughts appear in your mind, another one replaces it before you even have time to believe it. It's almost like your subconscious has started filtering out thoughts that no longer belong. Thoughts that can no longer go into this next chapter that you're about to step into right now. Okay. Now, have you also noticed you forget what you were worrying about? Okay. You could be worried about something. All of a sudden, you just forget all about it, right? Problems that seemed huge, they suddenly lose their grip on your mind. It's not because they disappeared. It's that your brain refuses to keep replaying the same fear over and over and over again. And you also realize that every problem is going to work itself out, whether you worry about it or not, right? Now, have you also noticed your attention? It keeps leaving negativity automatically. This can be drama, fear, and chaos. It doesn't hold your attention the same way that it used to without even trying, okay? And this is happening effortlessly. Your mind naturally shifts towards ideas that feel more peaceful, that feel more productive, that feel abundant, okay? That's what your mind is focused on right now. And what you're focusing on is creating the reality that you focus on, what you desire, okay? Now, have you also noticed things that you once wanted in the past, they suddenly don't matter anymore? This can be goals, this can be possessions, or even certain relationships, right? They begin losing their importance in your life. It's almost like your internal priorities have been quietly updating without you even realizing it, right? It's like you're being reprogrammed right now, all right? Now, have you also noticed your mind, it keeps deleting old goals that you used to have? These are dreams that you once chased, okay? They no longer excite you. And it's not because you have given up or anything like that, but because they no longer fit the reality your mind is preparing you for right now, okay? Right now, your mind is rehearsing financial freedom. Right now, your mind is rehearsing the moment that it happens, right? It's in your visualizations right now, and it's happening effortlessly right now. Now, have you noticed your imagination has become more just detailed, okay? I'm talking about vivid right now. The future no longer feels blurry anymore, does it? You can almost picture it with incredible clarity, as if your mind is becoming more familiar with possibilities it once couldn't imagine. Okay, I'm telling you, your mind is starting to rehearse those moments when everything happens. You standing at the lottery office, cashing in that winning lottery ticket, and it's very, very vivid. It's very detailed when you see this in your imagination, isn't it? I'm telling you, this is a powerful, powerful sign, okay? Now, have you noticed your reactions are changing before your circumstances? Have you noticed this? The same situations still happen, but you don't respond the same way. You respond differently right now. It's almost like your brain has already changed, even though your environment hasn't caught up yet, okay? Right now, before reacting right away, you're analyzing things. You're observing things, right? I'm telling you. Now, have you noticed your brain feels busy even when you're just resting, okay? You could be relaxing, but your mind is just moving, it's going. Even in quiet moments, it feels like something is happening beneath the surface. You can feel it. New ideas appear, Old thoughts disappear at the same time, and your mind seems to be reorganizing itself, right? Now, have you noticed certain fears suddenly feel just irrational? Okay, that's the word I'm looking for. Okay, things that once stopped you no longer make much sense to you right now. The fear is still there, sometimes it's still there, but it doesn't feel believable anymore. Now, I'm telling you, your reality is being reprogrammed right now. Let me tell you a quick little story that I thought about on my way here to make this video. Okay, now think about this. Okay, you're driving in a car, right? And you're supposed to go to a destination, but you don't know the directions, right? All of a sudden, let's just say a friend hops in the car with you and they say, I could show you the exact way. So they get in the car and they say, go down this street. You see this yellow house? Make a right here. Go down to this alley where you see this gray van at, make a left right here. And the van barely moves, so the van is always there, right? So this is the route that you decide to carry every single day. You just got programmed, okay, with this route. So let's just say another, and you went there like about 20 times, 50 times, whatever. You know that route like the back of your hand. So all of a sudden another friend hops in and he says, hey, I know another route. Automatically your mind is going to resist. Automatically your mind is going to think about the route that it already knows. Okay. So you say, okay, show me, I'll go anyway. All right. So all of a sudden they take you and they take you a whole different way and it takes longer. Right. And you're like, man, I'm going to stick to the route that I know. So you have to think about it on this end. When it comes to you being reprogrammed, okay, these are programs that have been in your mind for so long. So when something new tries to enter your mind, it's like you're going to resist that programming, okay? The only way to install new programming into your mind is to delete old programming. And the way to delete old programming is going to take repetition. It's going to take belief. It's going to take faith. That's the only way. Other than that, you're going to continue manifesting the way you think the real way is. You're going to keep, everything's going to stay the same because your mind is still the same. Okay. I just wanted to add that in here about how we program our mind to believe and to just do certain things. Okay. That is an example of programming. Now, have you also noticed your internal dialogue has become more peaceful? Have you noticed this? Instead of constantly criticizing yourself, your thoughts begin responding with more patience, more understanding, and just creating a completely different mental environment, right? Now, have you noticed you're becoming comfortable with uncertainty, living in the times of uncertainty? You don't need every answer before moving forward anymore, do you? It's because somehow you're becoming more comfortable trusting the process instead of controlling every outcome. You're starting to trust in the divine timing. You're trusting in the divine orchestration right now, okay? Now, have you also noticed your curiosity is replacing your fear right now? Have you noticed this? Instead of asking, what if everything goes wrong? Your mind starts asking, what if something amazing happens instead? You're thinking of possibility. You're not thinking of what's impossible anymore, right? I'm telling you, you're being reprogrammed right now as we speak. Your reality is being reprogrammed, okay? Now, have you also noticed you're naturally questioning your old habits? And these are habits that no longer serve you any purpose. And these are things that you have done for years. Suddenly, they don't feel like they belong to you anymore. Are you going through this right now? It's because your brain begins challenging routines you once accepted without thinking, okay? I'm telling you, when you start getting rid of old habits, new habits will start to come in, okay? And this is the same thing, like I said, you have to get rid of the old programming to let new programming start to happen in your mind, okay? Once that new programming starts, then you start doing different things in your life, new habits, new decisions, everything new starts happening because of the new programming. You have to look at yourself like a computer. You have to defrag, you have to get rid of all the viruses, you have to get rid of all the stuff, all the negative things that no longer serve you any purpose, and you have to reinstall new beliefs, new programming, okay? All right. Now, have you noticed your emotional recovery is getting faster right now? Disappointments, they still happen, yeah, but they don't keep you down they don't keep you down for long anymore, do they? It's like you get right back up. You're very, very resilient right now. You don't think about any of those things right now. Your mind seems to move forward much more quickly than it used to. That's because you are becoming a different version of yourself, and you are the new programming, okay? You're accepting the new programming that's starting to happen to you, okay? Now, have you noticed your focus is becoming more intentional right now? I mean, your focus, okay? You're focused on the things you desire. You naturally spend less time on distractions and more time thinking about the life you're trying to create. Your attention begins working for you instead of working against you, because what you focus on is exactly the reality that you're creating right now in this present moment, okay? Now, have you noticed your intuition? It just feels very, very clear right now. Some decisions, they just feel right before logic can even explain why this feels right now. Whether you call it intuition or inner wisdom, those feelings become stronger and more consistent. And right now, you're starting to trust your intuition. You're starting to trust that voice in your head that's saying, yeah, it's about to happen. And I hope you all enjoy this breeze, the view, and I hope you can hear the waves right now. I'm sitting pretty close to the shore, to the rocks. I'm sitting on the rocks right now. I just hope you enjoy this right now. It's a beautiful day, okay? Telling you. Now, have you also noticed you're becoming less emotionally reactive lately? Have you noticed this? Situations that once triggered you, now they just pass through your mind much more easily right now. Instead of reacting immediately, you find yourself responding with greater clarity, more peaceful right now. You don't respond with all the chaos and the negativity anymore, do you? Now, have you also noticed you're thinking in possibility instead of limitations? And you're doing this effortlessly. Instead of assuming something can't happen, your mind naturally starts wondering how it could happen. That single shift changes the way you see your future, and it changes your habits. It changes the trajectory of your life. Okay. Now, have you noticed you feel mentally lighter right now? Even if nothing around you has changed yet, your thoughts don't feel as heavy anymore. It's almost like your brain has stopped carrying unnecessary mental weight and is starting to accept the new programming that's happening to you right now. Now, have you also noticed you're paying closer attention to what feeds your mind right now? You become much more selective about your conversations, the information, and the influences that you allow into your life, because you realize they shape the way that you think. You're very selective about the energy. You're very selective about the things that you watch, the things that you consume, right? I'm telling you, the new programming is happening right now as we speak. Your reality is being reprogrammed, okay? Now, have you also noticed your confidence is becoming quieter right now? You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to everyone. Your confidence begins coming from within instead of depending on other people's approval. As a matter of fact, you're not even telling anybody about what's going on. You're not even telling anybody about how you feel. You're just moving in silence right now, aren't you? You're just protecting your energy. You're protecting your vision right now. Okay. Now, have you also noticed you're beginning to expect better outcomes effortlessly? This is happening without you even trying, without even forcing yourself to be positive. You naturally start believing things can work out automatically. Hope begins feeling normal instead of impossible, okay? You visualize success. You visualize things happening. You know, you're starting to become so optimistic, and at the same time, you're starting to observe and see how people around you are just very limited and they're pessimists, okay? They don't believe in a possibility. You believe that it's possible, okay? That's that new programming that we're talking about, all right? Now, have you also noticed your entire perspective feels like it's being rewritten right now as we speak? The biggest change isn't happening around you. It's happening inside your mind, whether you see it as spiritual growth, subconscious reprogramming, or simply a shift in perspective. It can feel like your old reality is fading while a new one is slowly starting to take its place. That's what it feels like, because that's what it is. Now, have you also noticed your mind keeps rejecting old excuses? Excuses that once sounded very believable, suddenly they don't convince you anymore, do they? It's almost like your brain no longer accepts explanations that keep you living in the same life, that keep you stuck in that loop. And you're starting to realize, man, am I lying to myself right now? Is this just an excuse that I'm making right now? Is this another form of resistance? Is this my logical mind trying to take over right now? You're starting to ask yourself questions like that because you're aware. You are aware right now. Now, have you also noticed that certain words, they affect you differently than they used to? Words like wealth, success, abundance, opportunity, it begins creating excitement instead of doubt. It's like your subconscious has started attaching new meanings to possibilities that once felt out of reach to you. When you hear abundance, automatically you look up, you're like, man, you get excited when you hear about lottery jackpots. You get excited when you hear about wealth. And you definitely love to hear other people's stories and how they started from nothing and all of a sudden they're just bam, they made it. You love to hear those stories, don't you? Now, have you also noticed your mind keeps looking for solutions instead of problems? Without even trying, you spend less time focusing on what's wrong and more time asking yourself, what should I do next? It's almost like your brain has changed its default setting when you do this, okay? That's new programming, okay? Now, have you also noticed your comfort zone doesn't feel comfortable anymore, does it? The routines that once felt safe, now they feel limiting. It's almost as if your subconscious is pushing you to outgrow the version of yourself that no longer fits, okay? I'm telling you. Have you also noticed you're mentally preparing for opportunities that haven't even happened yet? You're replaying interviews in your mind that you haven't even had yet. You're replaying conversations with people that are congratulating you, and this hasn't even happened yet, right? You catch yourself thinking about how you'll handle success of instead of wondering if it will ever come. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like your brain begins rehearsing a different future before it even arrives. Okay, and the more you do this, the more you visualize, the reality is going to happen. Okay, keep replaying the same scene, keep replaying it and rehearsing it over and over again in your mind. Okay, now have you also noticed that your mind is becoming harder to discourage, right? Bad news, setbacks, or criticism, it doesn't stay with you the way that it used to. Your brain seems to recover much faster, almost like it refuses to stay connected to defeat, okay? All right. Now, have you also noticed you're becoming uncomfortable with negative self-talk? Have you noticed this? The moment you criticize yourself, the moment you talk bad about yourself, it feels unnatural. Thoughts that once seemed normal, now they completely just feel out of alignment right now with the person that you're becoming right now, with the new version of yourself that you are becoming. It's incompatible with the new programming. Okay, that's why it feels uncomfortable, the negative self-talk. Now, have you also noticed your expectations have quietly become bigger? Have you noticed this? Things that once seemed impossible, now they feel achievable. You haven't forced yourself to think differently. It's just your mind has simply started to accept larger visions that you may visualize, okay? Better outcomes. It's like your mind is accepting all of these great things, okay? Now, have you also noticed your mind keeps imagining a life that feels familiar instead of impossible? The future you picture, it's like it no longer feels like a fantasy anymore. It begins feeling strangely normal right now, almost as your brain is becoming familiar with a reality that you once rejected, okay? A reality that you felt was impossible. Now it just feels very, very possible, doesn't it? It feels like it's about to happen. You wake up in the morning, you're like, man, I feel it. I know it. And you go throughout your day and you just seeing all the signs and synchronicities. It's almost like a confirmation and you just see it and you're like, yes, yes, it reminds you to stay focused, right? I'm telling you. Now, have you also noticed your old identity feels like someone that you used to know? It just feels like someone that you used to know, not you. When you think about the person that you were years ago, it feels almost like you're remembering someone else's life. It's a sign that your internal reality has shifted so much that the old version of you no longer feels like home. It doesn't feel like you anymore when you think about yourself 5 years ago or 10 years ago. You're like, man, who is that person? I don't know who that person is anymore. That's because you are becoming a new version of yourself and you are starting to receive this new downloading from the universe, okay? I'm telling you, the more you start to get programmed, the more things will start to happen in your life that is going to reveal to you that A new reality is about to happen for you, okay? I'm telling you. Now, thank you so much for tuning in to Millionaire Mindset, where everything happens in divine time by divine design. But you are the divine design. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment on this video, and hype this video up. Until the next video, Millionaire Mindset signing off.